For the final time in this Big East women's basketball season, Hinkle Fieldhouse will play host to a game today is inside these hallowed walls. Providence and Butler with so many things to be decided in the Big East standings. A big one to play for on a Sunday afternoon here on the Big East Digital Network. Hi, everybody. Alongside Scott Sudakoff, I'm Will Haskett. So glad that you could be with us, Scott, for two teams that are arriving riding completely different waves after Friday evening games. Butler on a huge high with a win in here. Providence trying to really find itself after a disappointing road performance at Xavier.
Yeah, Butler with a great performance on Friday. They really start to finish dominated Creighton, got off to a 9-point lead in the first quarter and never looked back, and really now establishing themselves quite possibly in third place, maybe even looking ahead to maybe jumping Marquette in the standings. Meanwhile, you mentioned Providence. It's been a tough season overall for them, but of course a very young team, sophomore heavy, and they're using this later portion of the season hopefully as a building block towards the future.
Part of that youth, one of the key sophomores for the Friars, and maybe a key to victory here today given her size advantage in the post. Mary Baskerville, exactly what we expected here in her sophomore campaign.
Yeah, the freshman of the year, of course, last year in the Big East, stands at 6'3", averaging 12.5 points per game. Such an efficient shooter. She's 54% for the season and 56% for her career. So in order for Providence to come away with an upset here today at Hinkle Fieldhouse, she'll need to be big in the paint.
Possibly the last time 5 seniors will play in this building on the other side for Butler, and the one that will go down in the record books as one of the best to ever suited up for the Bulldogs. Perhaps the final game inside this building for Kristen Spolier.
Yeah, her 20 points on Friday against Creighton moved her into 5th all-time on the Butler scoring list. Now almost 19 points per game, 7 rebounds a contest, and Coach Flannery from Creighton had a great thing about her on Friday. He said that she's the best broken play scorer that he has ever seen, and that says a lot with her ability to find points.
And why today is so important in this game. Look at how bunched the middle of the pack is right now in the Big East. You're talking about just a couple of games that separate second from all the way to 7th, which would have to play on the first game of the first day, I should say, of the Big East women's basketball tournament. Butler has to take care of business today inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, Scott, because that gets you one game closer and would at least secure at least a one-day bye in the Big East women's basketball tournament with a lot to be decided in a week.
It also shows how important that win Friday was, because if Creighton had won that game, it would have been even more of a jumbled mess, because Butler would have been 9-6, as would have Creighton. They would have been tied with Villanova, St. John Seton Hall 9-7. So that's how important that win Friday was as well for the Bulldogs to get that sweep of Creighton.
Meanwhile, on Friday, the Friars of Providence, a game they just didn't show up in. That's not my quote. That is their quote in that road loss against Xavier. It's been a disappointing season at 2-13 in the Big East, but some building blocks in this sophomore class. And with just a couple of weeks left to go, and you never know, a miracle run through the postseason, there's still some things to fight for and play for as they try and grow into this nucleus becoming upperclassmen a season from now.
Yeah, building block situation here today and the rest of the Big East season for the Friars. See if they can build towards next year. And you know, they played pretty well at home against this Butler team earlier in the year, held the Bulldogs to about 25% shooting, although it was a 3-point Bulldog win.
It'll be one of 3 seniors on the floor for Butler. Shea Bry losing the tip against Baskerville, and we are underway on a beautiful Sunday afternoon here on Central Indiana. And an offensive foul immediately whistled against Andrea Cooper for the illegal screen. Quick turnover on the first possession for Providence. And that will be something to watch in this game, Scott. Providence turning it over 17 times a game in the Big East. And everybody knows about Butler defensively forcing nearly 18.5 turnovers this season against opponents. Cat Strong right to work, and Butler's on the board.
Yeah, on that point, 27 points for Butler on Friday off of Creighton turnovers. Really took advantage of that.
Quick trigger transition, but Spiewak missed everything. Then Butler with the run out. Great lead, Strong to Caceres, and it's a 4-0 spurt.
This is one of the things that Coach Crowley before game said to us, we got to avoid the runouts for Butler, and easy basket there.
Well, Butler really likes to grind out games. They take care of the little things. If they can run, and they have against Providence earlier this season, they'll look for it. Baskerville, not once but twice, is fouled by Caceres and will head to the line for 2.
Well, there's the advantage that Baskerville will have down low against Butler. Her size, able to get her own rebound, averaging over 7.5 rebounds per contest.
And Baskerville at 6'3". We'll see Alyssa Gary off the bench as well for Providence at 6'4". A decided height advantage for the Friars in that center spot in that position if they want to take advantage of it. But there you see one of the few complaints you can have against Baskerville, just a 62% free throw shooter. Gets the Friars on the board, and here comes Genesis Parker, who has come alive of late for the Bulldogs. There's Spolier, third of the Big East in scoring.
Providence has to make Spolier go right, but easier said than done.
Went left, drew the foul against Cooper, her second, and Spolier, as she has done more than almost any player in the nation this year, will march right to the free throw line. She's made 148 free throws this year. That is fourth best in the NCAA. She is 4 made free throws away from setting the Butler single-season record for freebies.
She has such a strong ability to get to that strong hand, get to her left hand, even though you know that coaching up the last couple of days, Providence is force her right, but has the dribbling ability and the heads up to get to that left hand, get free, and earn some free throws.
Patience pays off there. Spolier on the board. 2 free throws away now from that Butler single-season record, and it allows the Bulldogs to set up some pressure.
Yeah, Butler really ratcheted up the defense Friday against Creighton to cause a lot of those turnovers and really set the tone early.
Baskerville filled the middle on that press break and then couldn't get the pass quickly enough. Spolier recovered to knock it out. Take a look at Jim Crowley, 4th season heading the Friars. Took this team into the second weekend of the WNIT last year, but then replacing a couple of upperclassmen has been a difficult road this year for a team that was picked to finish in the middle of the pack in the Big East and has struggled in conference play.
Yeah, 19 wins last year for Providence, as you mentioned, got to the 3rd round of the WNIT, so had something going. Obviously, when you graduate some top players, though, it's hard to replace.
Good feed down low, 5 to shoot. Scoop up wildly missed by Spiewak. Baskerville got it back. Defense was straight up against her. And Butler just swarming on the ball, forcing another Friars turnover. Parker, 1 against the world, and it's knocked out by Providence. And there's Kurt Gilevsky. He has reinvented this program, this staff over the last couple of years, and after losing the nucleus of this team a year ago, preseason picked to finish 7th after being the Big East Coach of the Year last year. They have well exceeded expectations and could end up being the 2nd seed when the Big East women's basketball tournament kicks off in a couple of weeks. Spolier had that one blocked as Erlette Scott comes off the bench to pay early dividends. Kayla Webb also in, running the point. Baskerville set up against Strong. That's the good entry and the good look, but couldn't make the hook shot.
Allowing Strong to play one-on-one defense initially here against Baskerville. We'll see if maybe they send different looks her way, though, as this game goes on. Double at times, let her play one-on-one. It's always good to switch up the looks.
Good steal there. Providence has missed its first 5 shots from the floor. Bry was back, and that should be a charge. It is. Bry got to the spot with Heaven Bristow. Jim Crowley can't believe the call, but she may have been leaning in.
I thought live looking on the court that Bry was kind of nudging to her left a little bit as Bristow was coming over there, and Coach Crowley not happy with the call, as you can see.
Yeah, you immediately look to the feet, don't you, Scott? I thought they were set, but then on the replay you see the body leaning in to draw the contact, so Jim Crowley with probably a worthy complaint there. Butler misses on the other end, and then Strong, extending the arms against Bristow, commits the foul. Our crew today, Bob Enterline, Fatu Sissoko Stevens, and John Capolino, as assigned by the Big East. And there's a welcome sign for Butler as Umu Toure checks in. Did not play on Friday due to a concussion, was available today off the bench, and she immediately comes in, the fantastic all-around freshman for Butler.
Missing those last 3 games, leads the Big East at steals.
Spolier on the run out with a full head of steam. Great pass by Bry off the rebound, and Spolier won the race to the hoop. Friars still looking for their first basket.
Much like Friday for Butler, defense leading to offense, really spurring them on in the first quarter. Got off to a 9-point lead Friday against Creighton. Never looked back against the Blue Jays, and trying to do the same thing here early on in the first quarter.
Yeah, 3 Friars turnovers here in the early going as Spiewak is back in. But a couple of airballed shots have actually led to transition for Butler. Right into the hands of willing passers. Quick trigger 3, and that is pure by Kayla Webb. 41% three-point shooter, and that cuts the deficit in half.
That's one of the things that Providence wants to be better at, is that extra pass on offense, and they do it well there, getting the open shot for Kayla Webb.
Toure drives. She's in the way of Spolier's post. Trying to run her off. Good recognition cross court. Caceres will drive the lane. Powerful step through, but missed the bunny.
Caceres, when she gets a little extra time on the floor when Toure was out, she really was picking up the slack, especially on Friday with 14 points, as that'll be a foul on Webb.
Toure just snatched the ball right away from her assignment. You could hear the ooh through the gym, and then Parker took the brunt of it. 4 fouls now on Providence here in the first 4 minutes and change, so Butler will be shooting free throws from every whistle here out.
Butler, led by Spolier, they get to the line a lot. They unfortunately leave a lot of points at the line, though, with their free throw percentage, but they make up a little bit for it with the many attempts they get.
Upe Atuso is in to run the point. Spolier thought about the 3. Atuso will take it. And good box out underneath. 2 players shielding Bry from an offensive rebound.
Providence have to be strong on the defensive boards today, especially if they're going to give up some turnovers, some extra possessions that way to the Bulldogs. They can't allow second chance opportunities.
Butler playing extremely physical in the game's first 5 minutes.
Well, it's really the calling card for this Butler defense, is get up in your grill and make it so tough offensively.
Good leave. Unable to do much with it, though, is Franklin. Shot clock winding down and the floater missing. And over the back went Franklin. Toure will have free throws on the other side, but Butler physically and defensively leading it to runouts like this one from Kristen Spolier, an early lead for the Bulldogs.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi Money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Divine Providence. It's a reason why Providence is making that trajectory toward greatness.
If we get you on this campus and you just walk around for an hour or so, you're going to feel something that's qualitatively different.
Providence College is a place that has helped people think, thrive, and achieve. Divine Providence is right here. Open your eyes.
Butler early lead, trying to work its way to its 11th Big East win, which would be important because right now slotting behind Marquette for the 2nd seed. But more importantly, Scott, when you look at that bracket, Butler would love to stay in the bottom half and avoid DePaul all the way until a potential championship showdown. But a lot of jostling still to happen. Seeds 2 through 7 coming up here in the next week and a half.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Butler still has the opportunity to catch Marquette for that 2 seed, and the benefit of that is you then face off in that second round game against a team that already had to play the day before. The way it's constituted right now for Butler, you take on the 6th seed St. John's, and you both would have that free day the day before to be ready.
Hard to believe postseason basketball just 2 weeks away. Hope you can join us. Wintrust Arena. There you see all the contact information on your screen. Call the number, visit the site, get your tickets now for what promises to be a really entertaining week, because really outside of what DePaul has shown this year, you really don't know who could be the challenger to DePaul out of the mix, out of the pack. First couple of days are going to be really entertaining, and if somehow somebody could get to DePaul early in that second day, it could really set up a fun showdown for an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament on the opposite end.
Of course, DePaul gets the benefit of getting to play at home, downtown Chicago,
Sure.
but great place to have the tournament in general, and a great experience for all the teams to be involved in. Should be a good fan experience as well.
Butler hoping that they can have one of the better performances in their Big East history in that tournament, and with a team that has been so good in terms of taking care of the basketball, turning over, defense, getting the free throw line, a lot of those calling cards for postseason success when the pressure ratchets up. Toure with the 2 free throws, and Butler's lead back to 6. Providence has started 1 of 8 from the floor as that bank shot goes for Webb.
Well, she's got both of those shots from the field. And as slow as an offensive start that it's been for Providence, only 4-point game here in the first quarter, so they've done a pretty decent job defensively as well.
Yeah, shooting 22% and turning it over 4 times. Spolier thought she got shoved in the back by Williams, but it's the 3rd Butler turnover, and all of a sudden the Friars could get it back within a possession here in the first quarter. They were done in, I should say, on Friday by 2 really bad quarters to start each half. Providence made just 4 field goals total in the first and third quarters on Friday against Xavier and just never really could dig their way back out. Williams just dribbling around looking for someone to move as the shot clock inside 10. Jim Crowley beside himself on the bench watching a lack of execution. Williams, tough fadeaway.
Yeah, Providence offensively doesn't they're not cutting as hard probably as he would like, trying to get open.
Slippery spot on the lane as Butler misses, leading to Toure falling down a moment ago. Williams ahead of the pack. Butler really letting opportunities slip away here in the first quarter for a nice lead as Bry makes contact with Heaven Bristow, and she'll have a chance to get it within 2.
Good strong move by Bristow, getting early position in the lane. That's a good sign there for Providence. Get up the floor early, get the early position on the block, go to work that way, get some foul trouble on Butler, get some easy shots at the free throw line if you can.
Wholesale substitutions for both teams. Parker and Caceres back in, as Baskerville also returns for Providence. Another free throw miss for the Friars. And they have taken 13 shots of any variety and made just 3 of them free throws or field goals. And somehow are within a bucket here in the first quarter. Now the Friars will go big. Geary and Baskerville on the court at the same time as Providence will play zone.
We'll try to clog up that lane. Good job collapsing at the free throw line there against Caceres.
Toure just uses the speed to get through the size. And what a welcome return to the lineup for Toure. 4 points off the bench early here for Butler. Baskerville against a double team muscles it through.
Not an easy pass to handle there if you're Baskerville, but did a good job, again, utilizing the height, keeping the ball up high, didn't panic, and ends up being a pretty easy 2.
Baskerville read the pass. A little lazy from Atuso. Butler fortunate to maintain possession. Atuso left open for a second and makes the 3. That is 8 straight games with a made 3-pointer for the junior Upe Atuso.
You know, the 3-point shooting, not a big part of Butler's game, but they found the bottom of the net plenty of times Friday from beyond the arc. And get that one there for their first 3-pointer today.
Pass too hard for Geary to handle from Baskerville. You can see the potential of what Providence has building in this sophomore class when you look at the length and the athleticism of that really tall front line. But Just the inability to take care of the basketball, costing them in games this season and so far here in the first quarter. But they're Baskerville with the reach, poking away a would-be pass from Spolier. Baskerville calling for it again, the pass late. A lot of heat to Geary. A big-to-big pass. I thought Geary may have had one more step to attack the basket, and she gave up on it early.
You like Geary's ability to drive into the lane like that and pass. It was a good idea on the pass as well, and that's something I think that those two players will be able to work on as they move forward in their careers, and it can be really a strong weapon to have two players like that, 6'3", 6'4", that can drive and dish to each other.
Spolier turned right into the waiting body of Chanel Williams and is called for the offensive foul, an easy call to make.
Good job defensively by Chanel Williams. Of course, if you're the primary defender like that, you don't need to be set. You can be moving as long as you stay in front, and that's what Williams was able to do defensively.
Made it a little easier when Spolier at 100% full steam just swings the shoulder in your direction. That one telegraphed, trying to get it cross court to an open three. Look, Parker trying to beat the defense down. Nice leave off to Shea Bry.
And there's one of the issues again, the transition buckets, the runouts. I think Butler has 6 fast break points now.
Scott was waiting for a screen. Caceres knocked it out. Yeah, 6-0 the advantage for Butler on the break, which was something that Providence head coach Jim Crowley was worried about. And that's just Genesis Parker recognizing, look, the easiest way for us to beat the size of this defense is just beat it down the floor. Toure, a little aggressive on that one, commits the foul against Geary. And that will be foul number 5 against Butler here in the first quarter, so it'll be a couple of free throws.
Shooting 2 for the Friars, will be number 32, Geary.
Alyssa Geary, a 52% free throw shooter.
Very good improvement year over year so far for Geary. More than doubled her point total. Playing 10 more minutes per game as compared to her freshman year.
Averaged 11 and 5 last week in the Big East before getting gobbled up like many did in that game against Xavier. 8 points, 3 rebounds on Friday in the loss.
Yeah, got named to the Big East Weekly Honor Roll for her weekend performance last week.
Now for the free throw miss. Last touch by Butler. I don't know if there was possession there for
I think that's what you might be right. Shot clock.
Jim Crowley getting an explanation. Even though there was a foul there with the possession staying, you still get the 20-second shot clock.
Correct, right.
Reset, and there was 1 second that ticked off from the ball being knocked out of bounds. Inbounds for Baskerville. She is fouled. I don't know if they got Toure with her second or if it'll be on Bry. It is on Shea Bry.
Number 23, Shea Bry.
Second, yeah.
Second, Dogs over the limit. At the line
So 2 on Bry. 2 on Cooper for Providence here in the first quarter. If you're a fan of the Friars, you just start to dream about what this Baskerville-Geary combo can look like as juniors and seniors. You get a little taste of just kind of what they're trying to do. Very creative offensively by Jim Crowley, the internal passing, moving him around at different spots on the floor, and their size paying dividend that time down, both trips to the free throw line.
Yeah, right now it's ball handling and decision making. Providence needs that improvement upon offensively.
Late Baskerville out to Caceres, who missed the 3. Long rebound, and Butler can hold for the final shot. Parker with decisions on where to go. Tries to go around Geary. Baskerville was there to block it, but I think they'll get Geary with the body.
Great job at the end of clock scenario there. Get the double screen set up, and Parker decides to go left. Her strong hand, of course, gets herself free and Parker, who was big in the first quarter Friday, was really aggressive, especially with the outside shot. Knocked down 3 3-pointers in the first quarter on Friday.
Her first point here this afternoon. Parker averaging 9.2 points per game this season, was a double-figure scorer in the non-conference, and then really hit a slump of epic proportions in the Big East season, and she makes 1 of 2. Heave at the horn. Ooh, just missing off of Kayla Webb's hand. That could have been a big shot to settle things down. But 6 turnovers and just 3 of 12 shooting for Providence does the Friars in a bit. Butler with a 7-point edge heading to the second.
You're watching Butler Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
Stand up stronger. I got the power, gonna raise it up. So high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, and we got to raise it up.
All right, we gotta be all in, all right? We gotta make sure we play with great passion. You have felt each other and helped each other and allowed yourselves to be helped with that, all right? We've got a great opportunity to do that today.
This is who we are.
When you look to your left and you see your sister over there, you help her. Because what we are one. Let's bring it.
1, 2, 3.
Together!
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
Butler takes a 6-point lead into the second quarter. Take a look at last week's Big East Women's Basketball Honor Roll and see Alyssa Geary from Providence on there. We mentioned her in the first quarter for her good spurt last week and part of this very hopeful sophomore class for the Friars, as the rest of that list in front of you, including the great Shantae Stonewall from DePaul, having a monster senior year for the #1 team in the conference this season. With Scott Sudikoff, I'm Will Haskett, getting set for the second quarter here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse with this big showdown and inside that Friars huddle. You know, a disappointing first quarter, another rough start, but all things considered, the way they turned the ball over and really failed to shoot it well, Scott, and to be down just 6 points is not that bad of a spot given how well Butler seemingly played on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Butler made 6 of their 11 shots, but they also turned it over 5 times. So that's only 1 fewer turnover than Providence, and the Friars were able to get 3 more offensive rebounds than the Bulldogs. So that's keeping them alive right now, down by 6, but they want to shore up, obviously, the turnovers. Butler already 4 points off turnovers and 6 fast break points. That's something we'll keep an eye on, of course. Again, something that Coach Crowley hammered home to us before the game was got to avoid all the runouts that Butler can get.
Butler puts effectively its 3 of its 5 starters on the floor, with Toure back out there to start, but that one kicked out by Spolier. And both these teams matching together, 6 turnovers apiece as Kurt Godlewski looks on, and has to wonder if Butler could just take care of the basketball, how much more comfortable this would feel here in the second quarter. Scott driving, great response by Toure to block it out of bounds, and then Spolier tried to save it, kind of chucked it off the side of Scott, who looks quizzically at her. Get Toure fighting down low to be in the way of Baskerville. Defender in the air. Toure again helping on defense. Good pass across, and the wide open Spiewak with the 3. Beautiful ball movement off the penetration by Scott. Didn't panic and found the open player.
Well, it was good defense, better offense, because
matched on the other side by Upe Atuso.
because when they were able to get that ball to Baskerville, Spolier, floats over, helps out, but then that opened up the corner, and so Providence able to recognize that, got that three-pointer.
Butler doing a good job switching. Baskerville right over the top of Toure. They will not count the shot, but that should be the second. That's going to get Genesis Parker. Genesis Parker with the reach down, so that's a benefit with Bry already on the Butler bench with 2. Toure doesn't pick up her second as Parker is whistled for her first foul. Williams was calling for it top of the key, now gets it. Great cross-court look. Spiewak open again, just a little bit too strong. This is a good unit right now on the floor for the Friars. They have come out sharp on both sides. Baskerville affected that fadeaway 3 from Caceres.
Good job. Good job closing out by Baskerville, obviously utilizing her size.
Baseline jumper. Baskerville trying to tip it, keep it alive, and does on the baseline. A reset here for the Friars. Baskerville calling for it.
A lot crisper here in the second quarter so far for Providence offensively.
Well, Williams had Caceres in the air and didn't put the ball up. Spiewak's going to have to fling it, and they won't get a shot off. Good defense by Butler, but I think indecision by Providence a couple of times in that possession aided Butler's defensive effort.
And you can see what Providence wants to do. Get the ball to Baskerville at the free throw line, middle of the paint, and the offense runs through her. Either she's going to have a good look to the hoop, or she's going to find the open teammate on the weak side, or even on the strong side, wherever it may be open, especially in the corners.
Bry back on the court for Butler, playing with 2 fouls. Kat Strong returned as well for the Bulldogs, with Kayla Webb in at that last timeout for Providence. Strong looking back door, just threw it off the leg of a defender. 7th Butler turnover. Providence looking to find it, work out on the run, but that pass leading. Now Baskerville underneath, got her own miss, and that's good hard work in the post for the sophomore.
Padding the stats a little bit, but that's still an advantage too. You get the ball like that, your Baskerville, put it up quickly. You're going to be in great position to rebound just because of your size. Reach up and get a second chance.
Look at the hands there from Baskerville, and then as she was racing out with Toure for that ball,
I think she's also
knocked away.
Sorry, Well, she's also setting the tone with her hustle. It looks as if as well, really getting reaction from her bench.
7 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals already for Mary Baskerville.
I think 4 of those rebounds are offensive.
Post position there, but again, the pass just a half second late. Parker able to knock it out of bounds. Spolier read it, had her head turned around. One player to beat, got underneath the basket and was fortunate she got bailed out with the foul. Took that one in a little bit too low, but she'll head to the free throw line with 2 freebies to perhaps tie a record.
Good hustle by Bristow and Williams getting back there, not allowing an easy 2 for Spolier. It was obviously a very strong free throw shooter, but make her earn it.
The record will have to wait. No for 2 start, but Spolier read it, hooked it up and in, and a chance at a 3-point play. What a gritty effort, and an even more gritty bucket from the senior Spolier.
Well, that's funny to see, because obviously the play before was the easier sequence. Looked like she had a lay-in, and then she had 2 free throws that she misses. Instead, well, flip it up with the left hand on the right side of the basket, so needs that backspin using the window.
Baskerville called for the foul. Kind of surprised She slapped down on the ball of Spolier with her size and height. Providence beats the pressure. Another great deflection from the Butler defense. Parker disrupting this one.
Yeah, active hands, get in the passing lane, especially in that zone defense.
Cutting through the defense. Toure running it down as Widmeyer had nowhere to go through the double team. Bry left open. Good three-point shooter in limited effort this year. Baskerville wanted it, but the defense collapsing down on her. And the floater too strong from Williams.
Good look, but Williams rushed it a bit.
Even better look up ahead. Toure to Bry through the defense, and a timeout called by Providence as Butler again goes on the run to score it. 12 fast break points for Butler, and a little nifty magic from the senior as well. Butler with its largest lead of the afternoon.
You're watching Providence Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Divine Providence. It's a reason why Providence is making that trajectory toward greatness.
If we get you on this campus and you just walk around for an hour or so, you're going to feel something that's qualitatively different.
Providence College is a place that has helped people think, thrive, and achieve. Divine Providence is right here. Open your eyes.
Nine-point Butler lead is its largest here of the game. Midway through the second quarter with Scott Sudikoff, I'm Will Haskett, and another good start by Butler after going nearly wire to wire on Friday, and they win over Creighton in this building, setting up what could be a perfect way to end the regular season inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, and a good start here through a quarter and a half here, Scott.
Yeah, for sure, and then they're doing the things that are going to beat a team like Providence, taking advantage of their miscues defensively. 10 turnovers for Providence, led to 7 points off the turnovers, but more impressively, they're getting on the break in transition. 11 points on fast breaks for Butler, and also shooting at a high percentage, 56%, 9 of 16. So that being said, Providence is getting extra opportunities, 7 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, plus 6 in the rebounding category, and Butler has turned it over 8 times as well. So there's plenty in that huddle for Kurt Godlewski to try to work on here, take care of the ball better, and you got to get better rebounding. Obviously, sometimes it's harder to rebound defensively when you play the zone because you're not necessarily matched up with someone you got to box out, but that makes it more imperative to turn, find somebody, get a body on them, and limit those offensive boards for the Friars.
Butler showing zone. Baskerville sits after the timeout. Geary back in the middle and trying to find an open passing lane. Williams dragged the pivot foot. And for the Friars, another turnover. Now they have 11 of them in this game.
Yeah, see Geary out there without Baskerville take over that role offensively and defensively, of course, getting the middle of the paint on the defensive end.
Spolier under 10 to shoot. Toure isolated in the post. Goes right to work, up and under. Beautiful. If anything, the concussion gave her a chance to rest, it would appear. She has come off the bench and has looked incredibly sharp and versatile as always. Oh, great pass fake there. Spiewak drives in, but a wild shot.
The one big difference that Geary brings to the table is her ability to shoot from beyond the arc. Mary Baskerville, I think, has attempted 1 3-pointer her entire career, while Geary can launch from beyond the arc. So that's one of the key differences between those two players, and one of the key things that can make them dangerous when they're on the floor together is you kind of could get that inside-outside presence with the height that they possess.
Commits the foul on Kat Strong, who is trying to shoot over her, fading away on the baseline, and Geary just drops the hand and catches the elbow. Immediately frustrated with herself. Second foul on Geary, and Strong with 2 free throws.
Yeah, maybe Mary Baskerville has to come back in the game a little bit earlier than her coaching staff wanted, but Geary picking up that second personal.
Again, Strong, the redshirt senior from transferred in from VCU. Injured that knee that you see heavily braced last year when Butler was making such an incredible run, and then her injury just kind of epitomized what was a deflating end of what was a spectacular season for Butler, as trying to fight through the double team. Jump ball stays here.
Yeah, Strong, fun player to watch because she'll get down and dirty. She'll get on the floor. She'll go after loose balls. She's tough defensively, and may not possess the height to contest a player like Baskerville or Geary, 6'3", 6'4", but she makes herself big when she gets in the lane when needed.
Orlette Scott stops the run for Butler. Strong looking for Bry. Almost a no-look receiving pass there. Spolier missed the reverse, but Toure right there. Didn't touch rim, so Strong goes right down the lane, and Baskerville just owns her in the post, and then Strong commits the foul. Wow, that was some strong play from the sophomore Mary Baskerville, just showing her length and strength there against Strong.
See it here, Baskerville doesn't get an actual hand on the ball, but in the back of Kat Strong's mind, she's thinking, I gotta get this away from Baskerville, and affects the shot. So a lot of times you don't get a pure shot block that's listed in the stat category, but I'm sure there are coaching staffs that keep track of shots that are just altered by a defender, and that's definitely one of them.
Not sure where that Williams pass was intended, but it was way too tall for Kayla Webb. Turnover number 13 now. Should say 12 for Providence.
Growing pains of a young team. You just hope, if you're a Providence fan, over these last couple of weeks and into at least one Big East tournament game, that you can turn the corner a bit.
Defense left it Tuso wide open. She missed. Another reset for Butler. Bry, great pass out of the post, but Toure too strong. Boy, 2 really good looks, point blank from 3-point range for Butler.
We've seen that with Shea Bry as well. Her ability to pass has been the last 2 possessions down. Got a ball to Spolier. This last one, the 3-pointer miss, but she's doing her job.
Caceres last touched it for Butler, and Friars continue to fight.
It's a tough situation to be in for Providence as well. You play that game Friday morning at Xavier. You get run off the floor. You obviously have a travel day, and you got to sit with that for a whole day, and you're a young team, and things haven't been going well. And I think, overall, they seem pretty spirited out on the floor right now, and as if, I guess it is really nothing to lose type of situation if you're Providence. And let's see how they can finish the second quarter.
Good bucket from Orlette Scott. Team still in it despite 12 turnovers and just 29% shooting. That one too tall from Toure. Butler's committed its own 9 turnovers in this game. Shooting at 47%. Your opponent's turned it over 12 times. You'd expect to have more than a 7-point lead if you're Kurt Godlewski. But that is a testament to the fight of a 2-13 Providence team that has come in here willing to go punch for punch with Butler.
You gotta remember that the sophomores on this team, part of last year's team that won 19 games, got to the third round of the WNIT, so it's not as if they haven't been around winning.
Williams steps into one. Coach yells out, that's a good shot, encouraging him to keep working at it. There's Bry through that post. Toure too strong. Spolier runs in and last touched it. She went through 3 different defenders to try and keep that possession alive. There is no quit in Kristen Spolier.
That would have been incredible if she was able to tap that in, running in the way she did.
Again, an important final home game for Butler here today, given where it sits in the standings. 10-5, a half game behind Marquette, which is playing at Georgetown as we speak, and entered the day just a game ahead of Villanova. I say entered just a game ahead of Villanova, as that one corralled in by Baskerville and she misses. Bry, lead up ahead. The ball last touched by Butler out of bounds. It'll go to the Friars. I say, again, to finish the thought, because Villanova just pounded DePaul at home. It has gone final.
Wow.
From Philly. As you take another look at this one out of bounds, as Bry couldn't pull it in. 76-58 Villanova with the win over what once was 15-1 DePaul. That will not really affect DePaul's lock at the top going into the Big East Women's Basketball Tournament, but Villanova now 10-6 and just a half game back in the loss column against Butler in third right now. That is a huge win for the Wildcats just completed, and that's a huge 3 from Kayla Webb as Providence is within 4.
Maybe a little extra juice in that one for Villanova. Final home game for Coach Peretta there for the Wildcats in the dispatch of DePaul, so congratulations to them.
The amazing psychology of sports, right?
Yeah.
You can rise and even exceed expectations when there's just something a little bit more to play for. 2-second differential game and shot. Spolier off a nice double screen. No. Run out quickly. Williams left a heave. That's going to miss everything. But a good late rally here in the second quarter by Providence. Butler led by as many as 11 here in the second quarter. It is whittled down to just a 4-point game at the half as the Friars show good grit and fight despite 12 first half turnovers. Far more to come here at the break here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. We'll take a look at those scores around the league, stats and more here on the Big East Digital Network.
You're watching Providence Women's Basketball on Big East Digital Network.
Stand up stronger. I got the power, gonna raise it up. So high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, and we got to raise it up.
Butler leads by just 4 at the half, led by as many as 11 in the first half. A big game today as Butler's trying to hold off Villanova for third place in the Big East, and the Wildcats today getting a huge win at home over top DePaul. This season, of course, the final campaign for legendary Villanova head coach Harry Peretta. They send him out in his final home game, a winner today. He's retiring after 42 years on the Wildcat bench, and part of Peretta's legacy has been the family ties of his program, no better exemplified than by Mary and Lisa Gadeka.
Everyone always assumed that I was going to come to Villanova, and obviously Villanova has always been a home to me because I grew up here basically coming to games and knowing Harry. I was comfortable coming in and being recruited here at a pretty young age. At the end of the day, obviously it was my decision and I knew I wanted to come here.
When we saw her from her junior to her senior year is when we knew for sure. But her sophomore to junior year, she started doing stuff and we were like, whoa, this kid's a little better than we think she is.
Not knocking my other kids, but I pretty much could tell by age 4 and 5, okay, not real athletic. Mary was always tough, coordinated, and she was taller than everybody else. And then I think high school. I think once we got into high school and she had to learn how to work hard, I thought, you know, she could play at a level. I just never thought it would be here or at this level.
For me personally, I actually ran Harry's offense in high school, so I had a little bit of an advantage coming in surprise.
Most high school teams aren't going to run that kind of system. To get a player from a program that one of my former players coaches, whether it's Lisa or anybody else, is a big home run for us because that kid comes in already ahead of the other kids that are coming in with her.
I think just understanding that Harry and the other coaches obviously foster such a relationship and an environment based on not only athletics but academics, and understanding that we are student athletes. They always have our backs no matter what the situation is, and they're always there for us both on and off the court.
She's just a representation of what we're trying to teach here. We're trying to teach, first of all, be a student, and then second of all, be an athlete, and then when you're an athlete, try to play unselfish basketball in a system where you're going to be asked to do many things, so you have to evolve your game.
I think the benefit for playing in our offense is that we have so much freedom. I mean, obviously we do have a set where they'll tell us to run a specific number, but you know, if that look isn't open, we can do something else.
Lisa was the most intense player maybe in the history of this program. So in some ways I'm happy she doesn't have all of her mother's characteristics, but she has a lot of her mother's characteristics in terms of her tenacity, her playing hard, her mobility, and just her knowledge of the game that Lisa gave her coming into here.
I think her toughness, her will to want to win, she's very unselfish, and I think her goal is she doesn't care how many points she scores. If she scores 30 and win, great. If she scores 2 and we win, great. That never changes, and I always was like that as a player also.
They're hard workers. They're very loyal to the program. They're loyal to the school. They're natural recruiters for us. They are most indicative of the people that we try to get here.
You're watching Butler basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
Stand up stronger. I got the power, gonna raise it up. So high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, and we got to raise it up.
For the 6th time in the last 7.
4-point lead for Butler here at the half. A big weekend, a big day in Big East women's basketball leading into the final week of the regular season. And as always, you can keep up to date with everything going on across the league with Big East Fast Break, the weekly women's basketball show, hosted by Megan Caffrey and Ashley Leotis, breaking down everything in Big East women's hoops. All new episodes of Fast Break during the season air every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. on the Big East Twitter and YouTube pages. And on this week's show, Megan caught up with DePaul senior Shantae Stonewall after the Blue Demons clinched a share of the regular season title.
For the 6th time in the last 7 years, the DePaul Blue Demons have won at least a share of the Big East basketball regular season title, as I'm now joined with senior forward Shantae Stonewall. Shantae, your team clinched at least a share of the regular season title in your final home game as a DePaul Blue Demon. How special was that moment for you?
It was super special, and to be able to do that on our senior night just meant the world to Kelly and I.
You just mentioned Kelly Campbell right there. You and Kelly are the only two seniors on this year's squad. How would you describe your relationship with Kelly?
Oh, it's great. It's definitely come a long way from being competitors our freshman year, trying to find our place here at DePaul, to being kind of like a dynamic duo on the court. It's been great, and it's awesome to see how she developed and I developed, and just we're super excited for the rest of our season. We definitely want to lead by example for our younger ladies. We're definitely verbal when it comes to making sure they understand what DePaul ball is all about, and I feel like we've done a good job by teaching them.
In your 3 of your 4 years at DePaul, your team has won at least a share of the regular season title. How is this program, able to perform at such a high level so consistently?
I feel like our coaches do a great job making sure that we compete in practice. Also, we are very educated about our tradition here at our program, and that we are walking in a legacy or setting legacies for players after us. So I feel like we do a good job of reminding each other of what DePaul ball is all about. Setting goals every year is another big key of ours, and just making sure that we're focused every game and making sure that we execute every game.
Shantae, you mentioned it a few times now, so I have to ask you, DePaul ball. Big East women's basketball fans know what DePaul ball is, but what's your favorite part about DePaul ball?
When I was being recruited, I always said the pace, not really truly understanding what that meant. It's a lot of up and down, very entertaining for outsiders to watch. It's definitely like an up and down kind of basketball style. Freelance offense, you have the greenest light in America. Very fun to watch and very fun to play as well.
As a freshman, you averaged 5.4 points per game. Now as a senior, you lead your team in scoring, averaging 17.4 points per game. Where has been your biggest area of growth in your game?
I would say just being able to read the defense, using my versatility to the maximum, finding myself in the right places, and continuing to run the floor. As you see when I play, I'm a very up and down player. So being able to get in shape, stay in shape. My fitness takes me a long way, and like I said, I go back to my versatility, using all aspects of my game, whether that's a jump shot, playing with my back to the basket, being able to put the ball on the floor. Bruno has helped me develop my game a lot, and so I'm just here to show it off my senior year.
You are an Illinois native yourself. You're from Normal, Illinois. What has the experience been like being able to play college basketball in your hometown city?
It's wild. Like you mentioned, Normal is not even 2 hours away from Chicago. So I definitely have a strong support system. Growing up, they always said, you're going to do big things on the next level, speaking regarding college. So it was great to see how all my past supporters still support me to this day. I definitely go back to my high school every opportunity I get just to give back, to talk to old professors, talk to my high school coach, because they definitely had an impact on me growing up.
You deep dish pizza type of girl?
No, not a huge fan of deep dish.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you have to let all of us know, if we're not going to get Chicago deep dish, then what is a Chicago must eat?
Ooh. We have pre-game bonas. That's really good. Post-game, you know what? Illuminati's, they have really good wings, so I will go with that for sure.
All right. What type of wings are we doing? We doing boneless barbecue, or are you doing a little buffalo?
Boneless barbecue wings for sure.
Barbecue, my type of girl. I love it. Shantae, thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're watching Butler basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
Really good resolve by Providence, making this one a game 20 minutes in, back inside Hinkle Fieldhouse with Scott Sudikoff. I'm Will Haskett. Glad he could be with us. And Scott, you look at the way Butler really controlled the first quarter. They turned over Providence, and the Friars come roaring back. Just a 4-point game after the break.
Yeah, a little bit surprising when you look at the numbers that it is only a 4-point game, but unfortunately Butler has turned it over double-figure times as well. As you look at the statistics here, Butler, shooting good percentage, it's 44%. But the turnovers, only 2 fewer than Providence, so the Friars have scored 8 points off of the turnovers. Not able to take advantage of the free throw line fully are the Bulldogs. To the three-point shooting, the disparity there as well. So all that kind of combined is giving Providence a little bit of some more hope heading into the second half, of course.
You see the +7 there for Providence in rebounds, 10-1, the advantage for Providence in second chance points in that first half. So an opportunity for the Friars to just continue battling and clawing their way into it here as we get set for the start of the third quarter. We take a look at the highlights from the first half in this one. Again, you'll see balance from both teams in this one. Everybody for Butler, short bench for Kirk Godlewski. 7 players played. They all scored in the first half. And while the shots didn't fall, the Friars got some timely ones at spots to really keep this one from getting away from them.
Yeah, see a couple of three-pointers that they made by Webb and Spiewak. 3 of 7 from distance for the Friars in the first half of play. Butler, as I mentioned, just 2 of 13. One of the 2 falling there for a Tuso. The 2 of the 13 now. Mary Baskerville, already 10 rebounds in this game. 5 of them have been offensive rebounds, getting the putback there. You can see how strong she can be in the paint. Kristen Spolier, 7 points, 2 of 5 shooting. I think the one thing you look at, unfortunately for her, 4 turnovers in the first half. A little uncharacteristic, but transition has been strong for Butler with 11 fast break points. Saw 2 of the 11 right there from Bry.
Hey, if you're Jim Crowley, head coach for Providence, you're feeling pretty good. Not just got yourself back into this game, but the way the offense was working when you didn't turn the ball over. They had 6 assists on their 8 made field goals in the first half. We mentioned the rebounding edge and the second chance opportunities. A real opportunity for a young team here in this second half to come on the road and spoil senior day for Butler here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. They have been really, really solid.
Yeah, I mean, offensively for Providence, the issue is the ball doesn't stick or anything. They move the ball around. It's just being crisper, making the right decision. A lot of times, especially younger players in a situation, is when a play is called, they'll run the play no matter what. If it's not there, though, don't make the pass. So sometimes that's an issue with a younger team, is that they'll try to force the play to keep happening. If it's not, back it out, reset, call something else. And so the Friars, something to work on, see here in the second half, see the third quarter, how their offense develops. I'm interested to see if they go to Baskerville and Geary together again, work maybe that high-low. I could see Geary being a feeder from beyond the arc, top of the key, get it over the top to Baskerville, really take advantage of that size.
You talk about what age and experience can do for a team. Providence had seniors play 2 minutes in that first half here of this game. And on senior day inside of Hinkle Fieldhouse, Kristen Spolier, just one of the seniors, played 19 first half minutes. So you've got a team that continues to grow for Providence. I guess a team with a lot of upperclassmen to begin here this second half. In fact, 4 four-year players on the floor for Butler to begin this one as we're underway here for the second half. Providence back into his zone. Parker shoots over it, misses the first one, and Baskerville with her 11th rebound. It was a close one when these two teams met back on January the 24th. Butler winning a knockdown dragout 50-47, and really it was breakdowns in transition defense for Providence that cost them a chance at that win. Trying to avoid a similar fate, split the season series. Shot clock at 8. A couple of steps through the lane, missing, but Baskerville there for the reset. 12th rebound, up and in for her 9th points of the game. It's a 2-point game here in the third.
I like the attack of Chanel Williams there, getting the ball to the rim. Get it up on the rim. If it doesn't fall, give Baskerville a chance for the rebound.
Spolier missing everything with that jump shot. Providence could tie or take the lead. Butler has never trailed.
See Bry really sagging off Chanel Williams there, daring her to shoot.
Webb wants a reset. She can shoot it. Sarah's played off a bit. Williams steps into the jumper. Well, that rebound got to the floor, and Strong had to come and swallow it. That is not where Strong wants to be. She's not looking for the shot, but Spolier able to just find a spot, use the size and strength to generate space against Baskerville for a big layup.
Defense not bad there, though, for Providence. Spolier had to work pretty hard just to get open. That lane for the pass wasn't wide open, and she, again, as you mentioned, using her strength and left-hand ability to get the two.
Baskerville, good quick turn, find the open player, but Scott missed the three.
Yeah, you called it. I mean, Baskerville felt the double team coming from Spolier and was able to kick it out to the three-point line. So, again, good execution. Just got to get those baskets to fall.
Strong baseline, too strong. Butler inefficient offensive start here in the third quarter. Williams has 7 to shoot. Spiewak. Baskerville has to go quickly and did. Slipped right in before Parker could get there to help. And back-to-back buckets here in the second half from Baskerville.
And that's, obviously she attacked quickly, but again with the size, you got Parker sneaking in, try to strip it, but get that ball up in the air quickly and nothing Parker can do coming over to help.
Baskerville then alters the shot as Spolier drives, and the ball knocked out will belong to the Friars.
Substitution for the Friars.
Atuso is in for Caceres, a little more strength and speed against the size of the Friars as Baskerville 3+ minutes of hard work here to begin this half. Geary comes in and immediately turns it over. Bry leaving for Toure, drives into the body of Geary, did a good job to just hold her ground, and the Friars get it back.
I think right now, Jim Crowley trying to get Baskerville just a couple of minutes, maybe wrapped around the media timeout that comes up in about a minute and a half, and then get her back out there. But as you said, it was a real strong 3-minute stretch for her.
Geary knocked off of her center of gravity. Williams beating through a lot of contact, and the three goes from Spiewak.
How about that? First lead of the game here for Providence. Sometimes the worst thing you can do if you're a team like Butler is give a team like Providence this moment here where they're feeling themselves right now. They are into it on the sideline.
Atuso trying to get it back, just a bit short. Rebound to Scott. Well, you could just feel the energy coming off of that Friars bench.
Ooh, that's a bad place to be.
And stepping on the center line was Scott, who picked up her dribble at the wrong spot. You could also sense the mood inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. It's not necessarily that the volume is picked up imploring Butler to play positive. It's more that nervous sort of hum that's come over the air after this team was up by as many as 11 in the first half. Phenomenal fight. It has been an impressive rallying performance from Providence. And Parker didn't hesitate to shoot on Friday, hesitated there. Atuso. Again, just a hair too strong. 3-on-1 for the Friars if they want it. Williams. Webb just barely kept her heel off the sideline. Now Williams probing. Quick flip up, won't get the friendly roll. Andrea Cooper got the offensive rebound. She's tied up, and it'll keep it here.
Hustle plays for Providence here in the third quarter. They've been hustling like that, though, the entire game, and been able to get, obviously, significant second chance opportunities, near double-figure offensive rebounds in the game.
10-3, the advantage in offensive rebounds for Providence in this game.
And the rebounding on the defensive side as well, not allowing Butler to get those offensive boards. So strong rebounding both sides of the floor.
Bry knocks it out. This has become a very physical game. A lot of contact being let slide. But it's allowed the game to flow. Neither team is really knocked off by it. Scott with Parker all over. 5 to shoot. Dribbles through, wild left-handed flip, bodies all over the deck. Somehow Cooper came away with it. And a shot clock violation.
No, that ball hit the rim.
That ball hit the rim.
Yeah, that initial shot, I'm pretty sure, hit the rim. At the very least, would be a reset to 20 with Providence getting the ball back. Although you could argue that Butler had possession there. I think that was Bry who was laying on her back holding the basketball. We got to look at it.
The officials are going to have a longer conversation about it. And we'll be in a timeout once we have resolution here. But this flip up with the left hand by Scott did graze the rim, I believe. Oh, yeah,
Yep.
No doubt. So that would be a reset there to the shot clock.
To at least 20, unless there's the full possession from Butler. If the hair is touching out of bounds, does that count?
She may have given up possession before the ponytail hit out of bounds. But they are going to take a look at this, and it'll be an easy.
That's a serious question I have, actually. If part of the ponytail is touching out of bounds while holding the ball, is that?
It is part of the person.
Huh. Interesting.
So now we could be looking for whether it's Providence ball underneath.
Yeah, it should be right. And it should be Providence ball either way.
The officials have communicated they're looking at the clock to make sure that they get the timing right on it. Again, that 30 versus 20-second reset, but I don't think there's any question at this point in time between the conversations with the fourth official at the table and then those 3 on the court that ball did touch the rim. Now the question is what it should be reset to. And we'll get final clarity on that one, and then we'll be in a timeout setting as well.
When it hurts, it hurts Providence in a way because they had the advantage there on the offensive end with the way the play was going.
So again, you're looking at they're at 4:54, should have a reset, and the clock reset to 30 because of the possession by Bry. And the ball eventually will come back around, and Providence into the hands of Kayla Webb. The shot clock then reset to 20 with the scrum on the reset, and that may be why the whistle blew as well as was the shot clock at the proper timing, not necessarily if there should have been a violation, although Fatu Sissoko-Stevens initially signaled a shot clock violation. That obviously has been proven to be unnecessary, but now whether there will be 20 or 30 put back on the shot clock, it will be Providence's ball. We're just looking for the final timing. And it will be Providence's ball on the sideline, and the shot clock will be reset. And now both teams are in a timeout. We'll step aside with them as we continue to do math here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. All we know is Providence leads for the first time here this afternoon. The Friars. Great rally out of the halftime locker room.
You're watching Providence basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi Money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Divine Providence. It's a reason why Providence is making that trajectory toward greatness.
If we get you on this campus and you just walk around for an hour or so, you're going to feel something that's qualitatively different.
Providence College is a place that has helped people think, thrive, and achieve. Divine Providence is right here. Open your eyes.
Good one brewing inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Providence on the road with a 1-point lead. Final regular season game for the Bulldogs. And for Butler, 5 seniors perhaps suiting it up for the final time inside this building. We'll focus on some of the big names later on in this half, but you also see Ashanti Thomas and Sarah Humphreys, who playing for the final time in the home whites here today, and some of the thoughts from Coach Kurt Godlewski on them at the bottom. In fact, Thomas, when she transferred in from Penn State a couple of years ago, thought to be a real promising piece to Butler's future her last couple of years. Just hasn't worked out in terms of the playing time and the rotation, but always a special, special day when all of the hard work, the prep basketball, junior basketball, into high school, recruited to play in college, get an education, and it comes to an emotional close today. Right now, not as front and center in the minds of the seniors you see there on the screen, or those that are on the court as well for Butler, but Scott, more importantly, trying to get back into the lead of this ball game, ever so important, especially with a huge Villanova win earlier this afternoon in Big East play over DePaul.
Yeah, all the credit here to Providence in the third quarter. They have set the tempo, and they've played very strong, hustling, getting a lot of loose balls, and playing strong defense as well.
Friars flashing middle. Cooper traveled with it, trying to swing her way through the double.
Butler is 1 for 8 shooting here in the third quarter. They haven't turned it over, but just a 1 for 8 shooting.
Friars have gone exclusively to a 2-3 zone. Baskerville is on the bench with Geary now manning the middle for the Friars.
Even some more time for Baskerville to rest. Thought maybe that she would come back in after the under 5 media timeout.
Parker a little hitch before she flung up that 3. And then Geary goes over the top of the back of Toure. That'll be the third on the sophomore Alyssa Geary.
That's 32. Alyssa Geary, her third, team's first.
And the one problem with that 2-3, hard to get a body on the defensive rebounding side. Bry, Parker. Good hands by Cooper. Bry got away with a foul. No, she didn't. They caught her. She can't believe it, but that's the right call, and she's picked up her third.
Now you're going to see Baskerville come back in. You mentioned Bry picking up that third foul, so now it'll be interesting to see when they go down low, potentially to Baskerville, if she goes at Bry. You pick up a 4th foul.
They try and go lob to Baskerville, but Toure, so athletic, easily goes up there and wins it, and then flips to Spolier, who rims it in and out. And then trying to steal the rebound away from Cooper. They're going to get either Spolier or Toure.
Let's see, Butler a little frustrated. Obviously, they get a nice, strong defensive play. And then Spolier frustrated that she could not put home the shot. Got to grab it back. Does pick up that foul.
Second on Spolier. Parker riding Williams up the court. Now she's called for the foul. She was inviting it for the first 20 or 30 feet and then just stuck with it until the whistle finally blows. And this felt like a game, Scott, that was just bordering on the edge of too physical with the pressure from both teams. And you may see things starting to tighten up a little bit here midway through the third.
You can see Parker, Parker was doing her best to avoid the contact there. It was a good job by Williams to create it.
Williams, good draw in the air, and Baskerville couldn't sail in and make it. Oh, beautiful design play. And a short miss.
Butler's offense, think about how cold they have been. They've only scored 11 points since the first quarter.
0 of their last 7. They haven't scored in 5 minutes. That Lynn right here. No, Spolier misses again point blank. And it somehow caroms out to Williams. Friars trying to add to the lead. Good find. Spiewak just a little bit short, and Spolier gets hammered. Second foul on Providence here in the quarter. It's hard to believe there's only been 5 combined fouls between the teams in this third. It's been more physical than that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of physicality in Spolier. She had the beat on the basketball there.
Toure trying to drive against Baskerville in the zone. Not a lot of room to operate. Parker up and under again, a layup unkind, and Baskerville came down with it. Bry was in the way, gets called for the foul. That's her fourth, and that puts really the best defense against the size of Providence on the bench with Bry now with 4.
Yeah, Bry at 6 foot. Only other, you got Nida Caceres, who does have some size. Haven't seen her as much here in this game. Now, obviously, Toure is back in the lineup, but Caceres has shown the ability to be very impactful when she gets her minutes. At about 22 a game.
Ball whipping around for the Friars. Williams. Just a little firecracker out there, but a little bit too short on that shot.
For Butler, I think you'd like to see Parker get her way to the basket. We saw it a moment ago. Wasn't able to finish, but she has the ability to traverse through the traffic in the paint and get herself to the rim.
Spolier, another wild shot by Butler. If you're the Bulldogs right now, it's almost the opposite of what Providence had in the first half, Scott. You're Butler. Right now you feel fortunate to only be down by 1 point the way you've played here in this third quarter.
Providence not taking advantage of this lull from Butler, and you have to expect it's not going to continue. It's not going to continue from Kristen Spolier. She's not going to miss many more layups or wide open threes that badly.
And a stoppage here. Referee saw something that they didn't appreciate.
Nida Caceres was getting set to check in. I don't know, maybe if they were trying to get her in the game before the game restarted, but she's going to wait on the sideline right now. Nope. Well, I guess now she can come in.
The clock had started before the ball was inbounded, so that's why they reset it. Spolier takes a break. Caceres is in. Providence, Baskerville able to come back and get it.
This Butler full court pressure is giving Providence fits, and Lupe Atuso just got leveled by Mary Baskerville on that screen in the backcourt. Let's see.
Butler was hoping for an offensive foul and an illegal screen here.
It looked like she was there. She may have leaned into it a little bit, did Baskerville?
It's one of those, do you want the foul call to bail out the fact that your teammates weren't communicating to save Atuso from the collision as it stays here with the Friars?
Yeah, you see that more often in the in full court pressure situations where those screens and the defender runs directly into it.
Providence has missed its last 5 from the floor. They turn it over here. Strong running with Caceres, but it's tipped away, and unable to save it was Erlette Scott, who single-handedly beat a 2-on-1 press.
Not the usual suspects I think you have leading the break there if you're Butler, but still a situation. You gotta find a way to get a layup, especially when you've only scored 2 points in this quarter.
On the other end, Baskerville was down behind, and Jim Crowley is asking to take a look at an elbow on the other end. So he has requested and said that there was an elbow thrown towards the head of Mary Baskerville.
Got to reach up pretty high to do that.
Fatu Sissoko Stevens brings in the rest of her officiating crew. Not sure if Baskerville's got a cut or anything up in the head, or if they're going to just chat or then take a look at it. Again, I've said a couple of times this third quarter, it felt like this game was teetering on the edge in terms of physical play. You get the huge screen by Baskerville on Atuso. Now her perhaps victimized by an elbow on the other end. And we're going to find it here. Again, both teams really struggling offensively. And we'll take a look here on the replay. Watch a strong, comes up with the chicken wing to clear out Baskerville. That is going to be something really interesting in terms of how they approach this. Watch Strong. Oh, that is. I mean, you're looking flagrant 2 territory here, Scott. I mean, this is. That is really hard to watch over and over again from Kat Strong and make any sort of defense for her. Thinking maybe there's a pass to put her hands up there.
I mean, thinking about it in the situation is she's defending Baskerville. She's in front of her. Someone's driving on the other side of the lane, and to avoid a pass over the top, maybe to Baskerville, she's putting her arms up. And, obviously, I'd like to think it was inadvertent that, caught her up high. Sure, it should be a flagrant, but maybe not as far as, ejecting, let's say, Strong from the game. Again, she's looking, where the ball is. She's guarding Baskerville. Obviously gets the arm up high, but it looked like it didn't look like an unnatural motion that you'd make on defense,
and
let's say.
And you could also
she
see
didn't throw an elbow.
You could also see Genesis Parker in there doing the exact same thing, sort of almost in part of the defensive intuition of this group to put your hands up as someone is driving through the lane. It obviously impacted the play and the turnover for Providence as that pass with Baskerville coming across the lane. And this will be a very interesting decision. I think both cases that we have seen from it, you could see this go in 2 different directions on the interpretation of it as they're all going to take a look at it. But I was sort of surprised at first when Jim Crowley said, look, I want to see something for it because, to be honest, in live eye, neither one of us saw anything that was going on in the play. Then all of a sudden you catch it there, slow it down, and there is no doubt a reason to take a look at that as Baskerville came in and caught the full upper elbow from Kat Strong. Remember, Strong is in because of Bry picking up the 4 fouls.
Yeah, I mean, see, her right arm extends back probably further than it needed to, but well, actually, let's see.
There is no pass intended at this moment. I mean, that elbow is on its way up before Williams has even begun to pick up the dribble. Yeah,
now actually kind of seeing it again, sort of.
It does not look good.
Looks more side to side maybe than I initially thought. And maybe there. Again, I don't think Strong had intentions of hitting Baskerville in the head, but maybe potentially wanted to get that arm up in the chest area to back her out, start boxing out potential. That could be part of it too. Wanted to box her out as a shot maybe going up.
And then the interpretation of if you intended to make contact and that contact inadvertently becomes to the head, it can go all the way up the ladder here in terms of how they do it. They will bring the coaches in, and you'll be able to tell really quickly from the reaction how this is going. Yeah, and you can see it. Again, in a third quarter that has been dominated by offensive inefficiency, we've had just 9 total points. Butler is 1 of 13 from the floor, had just gotten a turnover off of the steal there. And if there are free throws in possession here for Providence to try and build on what has been their only lead of the game, a huge moment in this one.
I mean, I feel like in real time, it's been about 20 minutes since one of the teams have scored.
Butler has gone 6:42 without scoring. Providence 4:47 without scoring, as now we will get the official word. And it is an intentional foul against Kat Strong. Kayla Webb will get the 2 free throws as Scott, you get the call from John Capolino on what they saw.
Deemed an intentional foul by Strong. 2 shots and the ball. That's it. So, a foul obviously too Strong. No additional penalty there. And looks like both sides were pretty agreeable with that call. Kirk Oglevsky did not seem to argue it. And Coach Crowley seemed pleased at what the situation came out as. And I mean, I agree. I mean, again, Strong certainly wanted to make contact because you're playing defense. You want to box out. Got the arm up a little bit high, and now she just needs to know that she needs to be a little more careful in those types of situations, especially when a call has already been made like that here today.
She's giving up 4 inches and just really battling for that middle spot. Huge advantage here. Geary against Genesis Parker. Backs her in. Triple teamed. Williams looking for help. Ball tipped around. 3 on the shot clock, and Spolier comes up with it. So it ends up being a 2-point trip for Providence. Butler again has gone over 7 minutes without scoring. They've scored just 2 points in the quarter as we're under a minute. Toure, Caceres lost it. Spinning out of it, Williams. Up ahead, Webb triggers the 3. And Butler fortunate that that one misses. 32 combined turnovers in this game. 14 now for Butler. Strong. Geary, that's too tall against her. Got her own miss somehow and forced it up to get free throws. Wow, what an effort.
Yeah, good job by Strong. I thought maybe even Geary initially fouled as her arms came down. We'll see afterwards the second shot chance and kind of catching the back of the head with her forearm. But initially Geary, had her arms straight up, and then she came down on Strong on the first shot attempt. That's where I thought they would call the foul.
They actually get Erlette Scott with the foul. Slapping down onto the body of Strong. She'll have 2 free throws. Providence will have the final possession of this third quarter. Strong, a 53% free throw shooter. One more. So they've got both Geary and Baskerville on the floor at the same time for the Friars. Trying to use the height here without the beat the Butler pressure first. Geary lobbing over quickly. Baskerville up ahead. Wide open is Webb, and backed out of what could have been a wide open layup. Now holding for the last shot, Erlette Scott. Now needs to go. Scott with 3 to shoot. Driving wildly through the lane to Strong, and the quarter comes to an end. Just 13 points combined between Providence and Butler, but after leading the entire first half, the Butler lead evaporates in the third. And Providence, looking for just its 3rd win of the season, takes the lead into the final quarter.
Join the conversation with #BigEastWBB.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
Ten minutes to go. Butler, after shooting just 7% in the fourth quarter, needs to wake up if they're to win the 11th game in the Big East. They're going to need their superstar to lead them there. It is senior day inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. We will close the record book, at least inside this building perhaps, on the incredible career of Kristen Spolier today, the senior from Lebanon, Indiana. There you see her averages on the year, 3rd in the Big East in terms of scoring. A decorated high school scorer came in expecting to have a huge career and immediately had to suffer through a knee injury that cost her a lot of strength and explosiveness in the early part of her career. And then this year, shouldering the load, she has been spectacular, Scott.
Yeah, last year was able to fully get over that injury, get up to 13 points per game. Now a career best 18.7 a game. And Spolier, you saw on the graphic, 5th all-time in Butler's scoring. She's become a better rebounder as her career has gone on. 7 rebounds per game this season for Spolier. And today, a bit frustrated, as has her teammates. But you look at the situation, you're down only 1 going into the 4th quarter here. Neither team, we could say, shooting the ball well. Both below 30% in this game. Neither team shot the ball well in the 3rd quarter. And the 4th quarter, we've seen a physical battle expected to continue here in the 4th.
4 points for Butler on 1 of 14 shooting in that 3rd quarter. They led by as many as 11 in the 2nd quarter. Providence took the lead in that 3rd, but were unable to extend with the offensive woes. Toure gets a nice entry pass, draws the foul against Baskerville to begin things here in the 4th quarter.
Well, if you're struggling offensively, the best thing to do, go to the rim, get fouled, get some free throws, get some easy points. And that's what Toure is going to have the chance to do right now for Butler.
It was the fewest points in a quarter by Butler this season since all the way back against St. John's in a game here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse when they lost the first 2 games of the conference season. They scored just 3 points in the 3rd quarter and went on to lose big to St. John's in that one as that one deflected out. Providence has really struggled with the Butler pressure in this game.
Remember that first loss that Butler had against Seton Hall? That was a game that the Bulldogs were in control of almost the entire way. If I remember correctly, the only lead that Seton Hall had in that game was the winning score.
That is correct. They led all the way until the very end.
So Butler has had some opportunities here and there for another win or two, and this obviously is a game that not only is it winnable, but let's be frank, a game that they should win on their home floor given the circumstances. Right now, Providence giving Butler everything that they can handle.
And then the weird fluke of the schedule is you begin the Big East season at home against Seton Hall and St. John's, and you don't see them again until the final weekend of the year. That will be the road trip that Butler ends on next weekend, going to St. John's and then Seton Hall to begin the month of March. So a chance for a redemption trip, but more importantly, be playing 2 teams that you are fighting off right now in the middle of the Big East standings.
Had to adjust the shot clock there, get it right.
Scott warily through the defense, then dragged her pivot foot and turns it over. 19th Providence turnover.
Well, this game at least is similar to what the 2 teams played the first time. 50-47 Butler win, and Butler only shot 25% that day. I don't know how many games you're going to win shooting 25%, but that was one of them.
Tape of this game will not be heading to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Not destined for Springfield.
But one team will win, one team will lose, and that's all that really is going to matter at the end of it. Spolier can't connect from 3. She is 3 of 12. Geary stays back to help, but then Spolier reads the pass. Goes right at Geary, who blocked it cleanly out of bounds, and then gives her the Dikembe Mutombo on the backside.
Surprised by Spolier's decision here, though. I mean, obviously you like the tenacity, go right at her, but she had a feed to Toure open or Parker. Could have definitely had 2. Instead went right at Geary.
Tuso trying to get the lead back. Geary outrunning, but Parker was there to slow any would-be break. Then straight down the lane. Toure knocked it off the body of Chanel Williams, and it'll be Butler basketball.
This is one of the more physical games that I've seen in person this year. These 2 teams are not shy of creating contact. Check out here.
And got her hand right there on the way out of bounds.
I don't even think Toure ever even touched the ball herself. I think she just lost it before even the hand came down. this point, it's going to be which team could just string a couple baskets in a row.
It doesn't start with Parker there. Spiewak running out ahead. He'll pull up from the elbow and couldn't get the roll.
I'm waiting for that to go in to be like, oh, I love that idea. Get the fast, pull up in transition, 15 feet, knock it down, and just can't get the roll.
Butler last led at the 7:02 mark of the third quarter. The score was 30-28. So you can do the math on how many points have been scored in now 9 minutes of game action. And there's been just 8 points scored combined between these two teams. Geary. Two bigs on the floor. Baskerville reset her feet and was able to turn around and score it. Providence back on top.
This is one of those games where, the winning team, the sports information director, and on the headline on the website, it's going to be the defense something leads team to win, because this has not been pretty offense.
Gritty, physical, mental toughness, everything. Parker, a big three for Butler. She made 3 of them on Friday, the first time in the 2020 calendar year she'd made more than 1 in a game, and that is a huge triple. Butler leads for the first time in the quarter.
She came out hot that game, made 3 of 3 in the first quarter on Friday.
Toure read it, took the pass away, has a Tuso up ahead. Good give and go back. Toure hammered and wrestles it in.
Well, finally some life back in the building here, and Butler doing a good job. The defense of Toure and a Tuso. Great transition bucket for the Bulldogs, and they now have a 3-point lead.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Slugfest between Butler and Providence. 6:59 to play fourth quarter. Kat Strong, one of 5 seniors that's going to be recognized here today for the Bulldogs, playing a big role in this one as you take a look at what the transfer from VCU has done in this her senior season, again recovering from a knee injury she suffered midway through the Big East campaign a year ago, and playing some big minutes in this one here today against Mary Baskerville, including one time called for an intentional foul, just trying to pick up the slack in the post for Shea Bry, the other senior to be recognized. Leads his team in assists, one of the more all-around players you'll see in the Big East, and 2 glue pieces for Kurt Godlewski playing in their final home game.
Yeah, it's obviously been a bit tough for Strong and Bry today in the lane, dealing with the likes of Baskerville and Geary. Bry dealing with some foul trouble in this one, but we've seen her ability to get up ahead of the defense here today and get some easy buckets, and as you mentioned, good passing the basketball as well, setting up her teammates, and maybe need a couple of more plays like that here for Butler to secure a victory, as the Friars are just, well, they don't, I don't think they'll go away here. They had that brief lead. They're making Butler work for it, and before the timeout, saw the excellent bucket by Toure, drawing the foul as Brian Strong smiles right now on the bench.
Tries to close out a three-point play. And it sounds silly, but the way this game has gone and the way that these teams have struggled offensively, even with 7 minutes to go, you feel like if you can get a 2-possession lead in a game, it just gives you a chance to exhale.
Listen to how nice it is to have Toure back in the lineup. Another steal here.
Geary gave it right away. Toure again right at Geary, and a chance for her second consecutive three-point play.
So that's now 12 points to go along with 5 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks for Toure back in the lineup today after missing 3 games.
Going after Geary had blocked that shot by Kristen Spolier and gave her the Mutombo finger wag, twice just beat by speed of Toure down the court. And now back-to-back three-point plays, and Butler opens up a 7-point edge. 9-0 Bulldog run. Baskerville forced against the sideline, and now Butler will settle back into his zone. Where do the Friars go to get a bucket, especially with Baskerville bottled up in the zone? They lob over the top of the zone. Toure tried to climb the ladder and I think gets called for the right hand riding up the side.
That was a good job attacking from the free throw line there. Williams drew Caceres out of the lane, which opened up this pass. See over the top of Caceres. Toure with pretty good effort though there defensively.
Say her left hand got the wrist of Baskerville. 13 points, 13 rebounds for the sophomore Mary Baskerville. They really need a lot out of her in the last 6.5 minutes of this game, and she gets 1 of 2, 6-point game. And Baskerville a little bit too aggressive trying to disrupt Spolier. That is her third. So Baskerville with 3, Geary with 4. So Butler's aggressive play at the bigs for Providence, getting them some late foul trouble. After going nearly 0 for the third quarter, Butler has made 3 field goals in a row. Make it 4 as Spolier streaks in on a great pass from Matuso.
Excellent play along the baseline. Spolier running that baseline, making herself available.
But Baskerville flung that ball cross court to Cooper. Looked like a wide receiver trying to get down in bounds. Now Cooper backdoors it and is able to take the pass from Williams to lay it in.
Exactly the thought that I had in my mind there, Will. Leads to a bucket there, though. Maybe not pretty, but 2 points nonetheless.
Barker, good head fake. Just a bit too strong. Rebound slotted out. Spolier last whipped it out of bounds. It'll belong to the Friars.
So here in this possession, don't have to deal with full court pressure from Butler, so maybe a chance to set up the offense, run a play, try to attack the paint, get Baskerville open. Toure fronting her.
Williams, by the way, is just a 24% three-point shooter, and she looks like a point guard right now that does not want to take the shot that Butler is giving this offense.
Yeah, they've backed off her all night.
Webb hopped through awkwardly. Ball last touched by Baskerville will belong to the Bulldogs. That'll take us to a timeout. Well, what a surge by Umu Toure. Didn't know if she'd be available for the game today, but she has come up huge here in the fourth quarter. Not 1, but 2 and 1s as rebuild a Butler edge.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
The Big East Conference and member schools
champion excellence
by embracing respect and diversity
while striving for a culture of inclusion and equity.
Be inclusive.
Be inclusive.
Divine Providence. It's a reason why Providence is making that trajectory toward greatness.
If we get you on this campus and you just walk around for an hour or so, you're going to feel something that's qualitatively different.
Providence College is a place that has helped people think, thrive, and achieve. Divine Providence is right here. Open your eyes.
.451 to play fourth quarter. Butler trying to hold on to third place in the Big East standings. With Scott Sudakoff, I'm Will Haskett. Marquette has already won at Georgetown this afternoon by 20, 76-56. So that will keep them in second place in the Big East standings at 12-5. Butler trying to keep pace at 11-5 if they can win this contest, with Villanova earlier today beating DePaul 76-58 and has gone final in Cincinnati. Creighton bounces back from a loss here on Friday night to win easily at Xavier 76-62. If Butler were to hold on and win in this one, it would guarantee them a bye into the second day of the Big East women's basketball tournament, as Creighton, even with the win today, can do no better than an 11-7 finish. That would be Butler's best tally as well. They own the season tiebreaker over the Blue Jays by virtue of sweeping the season series. So a lot still to be decided in the final week of the season. Butler will go on the road after today. Seton Hall and St. John's next weekend. Providence still trying to battle its way back with Big East seeding. Have Georgetown and Villanova at home next week. Spolier had it knocked out of bounds as Erlette Scott playing defense on the inbound.
You got to love is the fact that Butler next weekend, no matter what happens today, those two games with St. John's and Seton Hall are going to have a lot of bearing on how everybody, filters out in that seeding, and it's going to be fun to watch that. And it's a lot of it's all about matchups as well. I mean, you want to get yourself in the best possible position to be able to make a run in the tournament.
Spolier has struggled today, 4 of 15 from the floor, 0 of 5 from deep. It has been the play off the bench of Umu Toure, a game-high 13. 2 to shoot. They go to Toure quickly, but not quickly enough. Shot clock violation. And Providence will look to get closer.
And with that Creighton win today, they get themselves back on the right track, and they're still in striking distance to get out of that 7th place spot. And everybody else in front of them, everyone has to be on their game next weekend.
And Marquette in second. They just have the one game remaining against DePaul next week. So even though Butler keeps looking up and saying, okay, it's a half game gone, half game behind, if they get some help from DePaul, second seed still very much up for grabs, with Butler, you would think, at the driver's seat to go get it, albeit with 2 road games next week. Under 10 to shoot. Williams breaking through the defense, goes up and through, but beautiful persistence. Toure blocking the shot. And then Williams comes back, throws it away off of Parker. It'll be Providence ball.
Providence basketball.
And obviously one of the benefits of being the 3 or the 2 seed is you would be able to avoid DePaul until the championship game possibly. And also the benefit of being the 2 seed over the 3 seed is you'd play your first game of the tournament against a team that already had to play the day before. While being the 3 seed, you match up directly with the 6. So a lot of different factors go in to how the tournament we'll go how it'll play out. Providence has just had to exert so much energy and, just getting the ball in bounds in the backcourt. It's got to really strain and wear you down mentally as much as physically.
Beautiful drive down the lane, but as Baskerville got the pass, went up too quickly with it and missed the shot. Toure driving, dumped it off to no one, but Bry just happened to be in the right place. Spolier tried to create her own contact. Bry working through it, pushes off of Scott and fouls out of the game.
I think the officials there didn't want to bail Butler out potentially, because you mentioned that drive and that pass was basically to no one. It just fell to Bry, and then Spolier, there was contact, and Providence was playing aggressively on defense. I mean, I know a foul is a foul, but let's see.
And definitely got the arm extended.
Yeah, extended the arm. And even before what we just saw, is where maybe, Spolier could have been fouled. So look at it quickly here. No, I think that's
she's
a good,
initiating the contact.
Yeah, that's a good defensive play, good non-call. You're right. Spolier ducked the shoulder, stepped into the defender.
They're trying to force the ball to Baskerville, and Butler's just putting 3 white jerseys around her, and now Toure dribbles it off her foot. Boy, this is just, I'll say it. This has been just an incredibly ugly second half of basketball. 23 turnovers for Providence, 18 for Butler in the game. Physical play, we've had an intentional foul called. You feel a little bit for the officials. You could have called 50 fouls in this game if you wanted to, with all the turnovers as well. Just trying to find the right spots. Providence needs a bucket, though, under 3 to go. That ball tipped out. Atuso wins the race and will win it to the other end of the floor. And just like that, an 8-point Butler edge. Providence has not scored in over 3 minutes. Williams driving at Caceres. Nice little step through for the left-handed finish. Erlette Scott with the finish.
Well, we know Providence can get stops defensively. They've been able to do that all night, especially here in the second half. It's just on the other end. Do they have 3 more baskets in them here in the final minute 50? Maybe 2 with 2 3-pointers.
5 to shoot for Spolier. I don't think Parker was expecting to get a pass and misses everything. It'll be a shot clock violation, which is unfortunate for Providence because now they have to inbound against pressure.
Exactly. Coach Crowley's expression was the ball was in her hands, but that is that's always the call.
Butler
Even though she clearly had possession, that shot clock had gone off right before.
Butler actually backs off. That allows Scott to let the ball roll all the way up. Extend a little bit here. Quick trigger 3. Webb, maybe too quick, and Caceres with the board. Well, if you had told either coach you'll hold your opponent to under 50 today, they would have said, yeah, and we're probably walking out of here with the win. Right now, the way it's shaking out, that may not be the case. Providence has to have a stop here. Toure wants it in the post. Parker delivers it. Goes right to work. Got fouled, and will head to the free throw line as Spiewak hit her on the wrist.
And without a doubt, Toure has been the difference in this game, getting back in the lineup today, and offensively and defensively, double figures in scoring, 4 steals, couple of blocks, rebounding.
Yeah, it's somewhat fitting on a day when Butler, after the game, is going to recognize 5 seniors. It has been somewhat unheralded freshman Umu Toure, who's going to be the leader in this game. 14 points now, and a quick timeout called by Butler to set the defense. This is a season that began for Butler. They had a really good freshman from Morton, Illinois. Tenley Dowell scores 12 points in her debut game and then is lost for the season in that game due to a knee injury. And as the season's progressed, Toure just continues to become more and more important to this Butler team, and she has been as important as ever here on this senior day, a minute 5 away from Butler's 11th win of this Big East season. And why this game is so important, and something that we have talked about throughout the course of the broadcast, is where this would leave Butler in the standings. Again, trying to keep pace with Marquette, a winner earlier today. Villanova, a big winner earlier today against DePaul. So Butler holding on to that 3rd spot, and why it would be so important in the Big East tournament coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, look, so Creighton right now tied up with Seton Hall and St. John's at 9 and 7 there. So that's huge. And one of those 3 teams could very well be playing on day 1 of the Big East tournament. But even that being said, Villanova or even Butler could fall potentially that far.
Atuso commits the foul. Butler has several to give. That is just their 3rd, so 1 more if they want to use it. Providence electing not to foul on that last defensive possession, and now, with about 60 seconds to go, have to find a way to score. Toure hits the deck hard against Williams, who goes right to the deck and scores. And now Jim Crowley calls timeout to set up his pressure defense. Butler will advance it off the timeout.
Butler, 30-second timeout.
Actually, it's Butler that calls the timeout.
Oh, Crowley was calling for the timeout. I don't think the offensive team is then allowed to have the advancement. I could be wrong, as the ball is coming into the front court, unless they did award the timeout to Butler.
It is officially ruled a Butler timeout. Yeah. So Butler takes the timeout to advance it. I know that Providence wanted the timeout too, but Butler can then just say, look, we'll spend one of ours in addition to advance the ball. And that's what they do.
So on the scoreboard here, they have both teams with 2 timeouts left, while Butler does have 1 more foul to give. Providence already with 5.
Caceres triggering. Spolier gets it and is gobbled up. Foul is called, and Spolier will head to the free throw line.
Spolier frustrated at not getting the whistle a second earlier, taking a little bit more contact than she would like.
Earlette Scott got her money's worth. Fouls Spolier. And Spolier, who is well under her season average of 18.7 at just 11. And that, her 4th made free throw of the day, which gives her 152 on the year, and that is the best by any player to ever wear a Butler uniform in a single season. She adds to it here, likely add to it as the season continues, but nice way to do it, to set a record that may last for a while in the Butler record books on the day that you are likely playing your final game inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Still have to keep saying likely, you never know. Postseasons could have WNIT berths, hopefully an NCAA berth for this team, but let's keep that caveat open. Williams misses on the drive in an 8-point game. Spolier will dribble off some clock. And Butler appears to be on its way to surviving a really game test from Providence here in the second half.
Yeah, that's the right word, surviving this game where, I mean, that second and third quarter for Butler, they scored, what was it, 14 points over those 2 quarters. Really struggling with their offense. What didn't let up, though, still they continue with their defensive pressure and never allowed Providence to really go on any type of sustained run.
And Butler was 5 of 26 from the floor in the second and third quarter as Jim Crowley takes a timeout, and Providence will advance it for their next possession, but now down by 9. Mary Baskerville has been bottled up in this second half after rolling through the first 2 quarters of play. She's a rebound away from her season high, 14 and 13 for Baskerville, but missed a couple of chippy bunny looks at the hoop here in the second half that could have extended leads for Providence. And while the box score a couple of days from now will likely show a really good effort from Mary Baskerville, the sophomore for Providence, probably lacked a few buckets that could have made this an upset on the road for the Friars. and their final road trip of the year.
Yeah, if you're Butler looking ahead to next weekend, I mean, assuming this one ends up as a victory, you put yourselves in a very good position to creep up and take second place in the conference because, again, Marquette has to play DePaul in their final game. While, sure, Butler's both of their games are on the road, but one's against Seton Hall, a team that they, by all means, should have beat the first time. Maybe not the same with the St. John's game, but again, you have the chance next weekend to play yourself into a number 2 spot in the Big East, which would be quite the accomplishment, obviously, for a team that was picked to be 7th this year after the great success of last year. But having graduation of players, mentioned the injury early in the year to Dowell, so it's been another strong season for Butler either way. With this today going to be the 11th Big East win, it looks like.
They shot 50% from the floor and better on Friday against Creighton. It will not be that today for Butler, but somewhat fitting in this game. Last possession, we just had the 25th and then 20th turnover, respectively, from Providence and Butler. But it appears that it'll be the Bulldogs that get to walk out of this building here today with the most important end result, and that is a win, provided they can survive the last 35 and a tick on the clock and get that 11th win of this 2019-20 Big East women's basketball season. Providence, again, preseason picked to finish 5th in the league, is just a couple of seconds away from going 2-14 with a couple of games at home to finish out. But really have to admire, I mean, the same issues that have plagued Providence all year long, especially in the Big East. Poor shooting, lots of turnovers. They reared their ugly head in this one as well, but certainly not the desire or the drive of Jim Crowley's young team.
Yeah, and I think one thing they can hang their hat on is the intensity that they were able to bring for most of this game, especially on the defensive end. And they were right there in the third quarter. But Butler, just in the end a little bit, too strong. Veteran leadership for the Bulldogs. And for Providence, another learning experience as they head into their final couple of games of the season.
There's a slight differential game and shot clock, but Providence has called off the Dogs, and while there officially is a shot clock violation, the horn sounds. Providence doesn't care. The officials are going to let it go, and this one is in the books. Boy, Butler survives a horrid third quarter, Scott, to get the victory, but an impressive performance nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure for Butler. I mean, for Kirk Godlewski, there's going to be a lot that he needs to go over with his team from today, but they grind it out. They get the victory, and as I mentioned, put themselves in very good position heading into next weekend, heading into those games against Seton Hall and St. John's, and really securing themselves in the top 4 right now of the Big East. Still have Villanova to deal with behind them after their big win today against DePaul, so that was good.
Well, and a win is a win is a win, and that's exactly what the man who's joining us right now is going to say. Head coach Kirk Godlewski is with us. I'm not going to talk about the third quarter. I'm going to talk about how you survived the third quarter and found a way to get this done in the fourth.
Well, I thought that we still defended, holding them still within reach. And we were going through some struggles. To be honest with you, we haven't worked on much zone stuff. We got to go back to it. But then all of a sudden we started working the bug out and started getting the ball where we needed to, and shots started going down. Kids started playing more confident. So
it's an emotional day. I know you've got some seniors you need to recognize. Right. It can be a hard day to play on senior day.
Yes,
to have a freshman like Umuture, who you didn't even probably know when he woke up this morning if she was going to play, step up to make this day special for her senior teammates.
Right, and we missed her over that 3-game stretch, and she gives us so much just from her defense and gets a lot of extra possessions for us. But it's hard when you have seniors that you want them to go out on such a positive note that have done so much for your program. So very happy for them to get a win over a Providence team that's so they're scary because they got depth and they got size and they got scoring ability on the inside, and they're a very good team.
And looking ahead maybe a little bit now towards next weekend, you go on the road, you take on Seton Hall, St. John's. That Seton Hall game here was a game I think that you thought you should have had a win in. What's going to be the message heading into those games next weekend?
We've grown since then. We've gotten better as a team, and we got to go out there and we got to be ourselves. And hopefully we'll get to that.
Coach, I know you've got a couple of ladies over there that you really want to bid farewell to and what they've done in their careers, but a lot more basketball to go. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you very
today.
much. I appreciate you guys.
That's Kirk Godlewski, head coach of the Butler Bulldogs, as they get the victory. Scott, sometimes it doesn't matter how it looks as long as you get the W in the win column.
Yep, this is the definition of the ugly win. Doesn't matter, win is a win, but obviously there'll be things that Butler will work on in the week leading up to their games next weekend. But again, they are in prime position to potentially, I don't want to say steal second place, but jump over Marquette and get that second place position in the Big East. But hey, they could still fall to the middle of the pack as well with the way things are going in the conference.
Butler protects third place in the Big East. They move to 11-5 in the season with 2 more games to go. Umu Toure, the hero in this one, 15 points off the bench for the freshman. There you see the updated standings. Still a half game behind Marquette with that big battle between 1 and 2 looming tomorrow, and Villanova's win earlier today against DePaul, Scott, really changes the complexity of this coming up the final week of the season.
Yeah, impressive win there for Villanova. Obviously had a little bit more on the line there at home as well, but big win for the Wildcats.
Big win today for Butler, their final game inside Hinkle Fieldhouse in the Big East this year. They go away a winner, 51-42, the final. Scott Sudakoff and our entire crew, I'm Will Askett saying so long from Hinkle Fieldhouse. Butler wins for the 11th time this year in the conference. 1 week to go. Can't believe it. Postseason almost here. We'll see you there.
The Big East Conference and member schools.
Champion excellence.
By embracing respect and diversity.
While striving for a culture of inclusion and equity.
Be inclusive.
Be inclusive.